What's up YouTube, KidMoto22, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about some gloves that I've been using for a little while now, and I want to do a long-term review. I was asked by one of my subscribers, Volts, to do a long-term review on my ODIN Gauntlet gloves. So you can kind of see what these bad boys look like. So these are a full gauntlet glove. And of course, just like the regular ODINs, they have the magnets in them to stick to your gas tank. They have a zipper on the side. And again, they're a full gauntlet style glove, and they still have ODIN's kind of proprietary design on the finger and the thumb, which is the finger and the thumb both come out to be able to operate your electronics. And so there is some kind of neoprene along here and along the inside in there, right there, that you can kind of see. And yeah, so I've been riding these gloves for a while and was asked to do a long-term review, and I will do that right now. All right, welcome back everybody, KidMoto22 here, and I come to you guys today to do the long-term review of my ODIN Gauntlet gloves. So if any of you guys follow my channel or any of my content that I do, you'll know that I'm a fan of this particular style of glove. ODIN has a couple of things that make them unique in terms of the style of glove that they are, which is obviously that finger and thumb, I don't even know what you'd call it, but it's an area where your finger and thumb can be released from the inside of the glove, so that you can get your finger out for using your, just like this, so you can get your finger out or your thumb out for using your electronics. So that's one of the things that makes this style of glove unique, is that's one of the features that they have that many other gloves in this style do not have. They also have their ODIN Originals, which I have, which are just a short cuff style glove. And also they have tan ones. They have their what they call their heavy hitters, which has some bracing or padding in the knuckles and fingers. They have a bunch of different gloves. I would call them they're affordable gloves in terms of how much you can spend on many different kinds of gloves. I don't remember what I paid for these, but I want to say they were under $100 for these gloves. They are a company out of Canada, which is close to me, obviously. But these gloves have been with me through a few trips already, and I have really come to enjoy these gloves. So the features about these particular gloves, in my opinion, that I think are the best, that I like the best, number one is the length of the gauntlet. And I've used some other gloves that I do like, but I felt like the gauntlet was too short. And so in my opinion, if you're going to call a glove a gauntlet style glove, it should be able to be used and worn to fit over the sleeve of your coat. So when you're on your bike and your coat comes down to here, the gauntlet should be 2 to 3 inches overlap on the sleeve of your coat. And the reason for that is when you wear this style of glove, you're wearing them really to prevent that wind from blowing up the sleeve of your jacket or whatever it is you might be wearing. You can see today I wore it's a nice day today, and typically I probably wouldn't be wearing gauntlet gloves, but I wanted to wear them today to do this long-term review. And I thought doing a moto vlog and doing a gear review so you can see them in action would be two things that would be very good. So you can see the glove is covering the bottom part of my sleeve of my shirt, and it goes all the way up, so that when I'm riding, and if you've ridden with just a regular long sleeve shirt on before, you know that the sleeve of your flannel or whatever will pull up on with regular style gloves. Wearing a gauntlet glove that goes over top of your sleeve like this as you're riding and the wind is blowing, it is not going to blow the sleeve of your shirt up. You're going to be able to have a sleeve that's completely staying in place because the gauntlet is taking the wind and blowing it up this way, and it's not blowing up your shirt sleeve and pushing your shirt sleeve up. So that's one of the main advantages I see to this style of glove. So I call this a long-term review because I'm going to say I don't know the exact period of time. It's either 2 or 3 seasons that I've been running these gloves for, and they have held up extremely well in the time that I've had them. So you can kind of see these are all just from bugs on the gloves themselves. I haven't had any excessive wear in the palm of the glove, around the fingers, anywhere. There's nowhere where the seams have been that are coming apart. I've had these gloves, I want to say now for, like I said, 3 seasons. I would say conservatively I've put about 5,000 miles on these gloves. I would say that's probably a conservative estimate to how many miles I've put on them. And I have found them to be extraordinarily effective in what they do. The one thing I would say that would be a knock on these gloves is that, and I don't know if it's still listed this way, but when I bought these gloves, they were listed on the website as being a cold weather or cooler weather glove, and I think that that in itself is a bit misleading. These do have thinsulate material in them, but I would by no means consider these a cold weather glove. They are a little warmer than my regular gloves, but I think they're only a little warmer than my regular ODIN gloves because of the length of the gauntlet and the additional wind protection that it provides. I don't feel like these are necessarily any thicker or warmer because of the material that's in them. Now that's just my feeling about that. I don't know that that's necessarily true. These are probably a bit warmer in terms of the style of gloves, but from my opinion, in terms of what I would consider to be a cold weather glove, these aren't cold weather glove. Now, they will keep you warmer though in some of the cooler temperatures. So if you're thinking about riding, say, down to about 50 degrees, I would say these gloves are perfect for that. And it all depends on the person too. There's always a few things I think that are subjective in terms of temperature wise, and gloves definitely for me are one of them. My hands tend to get a little bit colder. That's why I have the hand guards on my bike, and so I typically would go with, like, I run heated gloves now when it gets cold. I have these. So the last trip I just took a little while ago out to western North Dakota, we were going to be experiencing a variety of temperatures. I had 3 pairs of gloves with me. I had my short gloves, I had these longer ODIN gloves with the longer gauntlet on them, and I had my heated gloves. And each morning I wore my heated gloves, and then one of the days we rode into the evening, probably about 10 o'clock at night, and I was wearing my heated gear or heated gloves and heated jacket, you know, into the evening. So I think that it's all subjective to the temperature that you're comfortable riding in terms of whether or not you feel like the gloves that you're wearing are warm enough for the conditions. Like I said, I think these are really good down to about 50 degrees. Anything colder than that, I don't really think that these gloves, I wouldn't consider them to be good gloves for weather colder than 50 degrees. That being said, somebody else might wear these and think these are great for weather that's even colder, you know, maybe even down to 40 or so. For me, they're not. They do provide a great level of protection in terms of you know, keeping the wind from blowing up your sleeve. And I have actually worn these with multiple layers too, or a full thicker leather jacket with sleeves all the way down, and the gauntlets fit nicely over top of that part of the jacket. That's the other thing you can kind of see. If you see how I'm bending my wrist and it kind of bows up a little bit, you can see that there's plenty of room in the gauntlet itself to fit over a jacket, not just a shirt sleeve either. So in terms of the design of the glove, I think it's well thought out in terms of that part of it too, with the gauntlet being not only long enough but large enough to fit over a jacket if you're wearing it. Now, in terms of protection, I do know a friend of mine went down on his bike and he was wearing a pair of the Gauntlet originals, the tan and black ones, and the gloves absolutely saved his hands from getting just, you know, all mangled up. And so I do know that they offer a fair degree of protection. When I say fair, I mean there's nice, you know, the palms have plenty of leather in them, in terms of, you know, if you went down, they're obviously not going to save you if you're sliding for a long period of time. These particular Gauntlet gloves, and I don't know, I haven't checked the website in a while, they do not have any type of armor in the knuckles, but I'm almost positive that they sell some now that have armor in the knuckles too. So like I said, conservatively I put about 5,000 miles on these. They wear excellent. Break-in period for me was you know, pretty much non-existent. I mean, I put the gloves on, they fit perfectly when I ordered them, and being an all leather glove, like I said, there really wasn't much of a break-in period. They fit well, they felt good, and I've run them, you know, quite a bit. So would I recommend these? Absolutely. I would feel perfectly comfortable recommending these gloves. I think that they are a good alternative if you're looking for a Gauntlet style glove that's going to get you through some of that medium temperature time. And you could even wear them in warmer weather. I know some people prefer this style of glove, and they do work for a variety of weather conditions. I would have to say I have not worn them in the rain, but you know, like any leather glove, they're only going to provide you so much protection in the rain until you know, until essentially they're completely soaked through, and then they're not going to be providing you any weather protection as far as that part of it goes. But in terms of them being a good glove for what they're made to do, I absolutely think they're a great glove for what they're made to do. And I think that's important to remember when you think of any gear that you're going to get for most gears, or I shouldn't say for most gears, for most gear, you're going to need a variety of gloves, jackets, vests, whatever you wear for the conditions that you're in. I don't think there's any, you know, one piece of gear that I've owned that I say is great for every condition. And it all depends on the kind of rider and the kind of weather you ride in and where you ride and what you're comfortable in, I would say. So back to the gloves. The ODIN full Gauntlet glove, in my opinion, is worth the money. It's worth the investment. I've put a lot of miles on these gloves. They have worn very little in terms of the wear and tear. All the kind of marks that you see on these gloves are not marks in the leather. They are bugs is what they are. And I just wanted to show you that I have, you know, that I do wear them. You can kind of see the bug splatters on them, so you don't have to think, oh well, he's showing me a brand new pair of gloves. I have put lots of miles on these gloves, and I do wear them. And what some people think to be a gimmick, I have found to be a great tool in terms of getting my fingers out and being able to use my phone. There's lots of gloves that they make that you can use on the, you know, on your phone without taking the finger part off. I have found some people have told me from time to time those fingertips will wear out, and then the gloves are no good if you're specifically using it for your phone. You don't have that problem with these because the fingertips don't wear out. But that's about all I have for you guys today. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you tuning in. If you like what I'm doing, give me a thumbs up. You can hit the subscribe button. I'm gonna put it over here, and I'll probably throw up another review of some gear I've done. Maybe I'll throw my old review for my Gauntlet gloves up over here so you guys can see it. and I appreciate you guys' time. This is Kid Moto. I'm out.